What if one of the most tragic deaths in the Danganronpa anime series never happened? Hello everyone, and welcome to another What If. I guess you can consider this a follow-up to my What If Chihiro Survived video, because this is about a somewhat daughter, somewhat related thing. I don't know, the guys kind of fucked it up as time went on, because originally it was an AI made by Chihiro, and then they changed their mind and said, no, it was based off a real person, all that crap. But screw it. This is What If Chiaki Survived in Danganronpa 3. Keep in mind I'm going with 3 and not the second game, largely because given how she died near the end of the game, there really wasn't much that would change. So we're gonna go off the anime, and that basically takes place before the start of the series. So yeah. Here we go. So we begin with a similar scenario where everyone is watching Chiaki getting fucking slaughtered in crap, and Chiaki's getting her ass kicked in the torture room. However, instead of some of them getting turned to despair, some of them are able to resist it long enough to escape the room. Yeah, it's almost like some people are actually competent in this series, but I'm going to remove a lot of Danganronpa 3 salt because we're not going to get anywhere, and this is a what if. So, the ones I have in mind that would survive it are Gundam, Sonya, Akane, Nekomaru, Soda, Peko, and Fuyuhiko. That would be it. Everyone else would be turned into the remnants, except for Chiaki for obvious reasons, and the ones who would escape, they would go through a few traps Junko set up because, you know, it's Junko, but they would be able to reach the power supply in time, shut it down, and without any power going through, they can't do anything. All the mechanics, all the traps, they're shut down, they can't be powered, it's done. Would Mukuro be in the way, potentially? Yes, but with Akane and Nekomaru around, as well as Peko, she really could not do much to stop it. So, after that, Chiaki survives, and they escape, but Junko isn't happy about this. She wanted to get all of them to turn to the remnants, so she sends Izuru to go get the rest, but he's not interested since he finds that a boring endeavor. Keep in mind that Izuru and Junko didn't always see eye to eye in the Danganronpa 3 anime, especially when they started working together, and Izuru would find a task like this of rounding them back up kind of boring, so why would he do it? So for now, Junko lets them escape, and then commits the plan that we saw in the original timeline. The survivors would run to Juzo and the like because they weren't too far off, and after they noticed Chiaki's wounds, Juzo and the others associated with the Future Foundation, redundancy aside, gets Chiaki into a medical ward for the time being because she still got pretty fucked up. Now, in this scenario, Kyosuke would likely think this has something to do with Junko, and Juzo and Chisa would protest her innocence, but after hearing the story from the survivors about Junko doing all this crap, and since it's 8 of them, yeah, Munakata is starting to doubt Juzo and Chisa a bit, especially after hearing that explicit of a detail. He then demands to see the area. Chisa says that she's going to go with them, but Kyosuke tells her to stay back and brings Juzo as well as Tenosuke, since he feels the expelled student could be useful for something. However, when they get to the area, there's bombs around the area and at the school, so they go off, and the area is destroyed, further proving Kyosuke's suspicion that Junko is responsible, but Juzo still doubts it, and this time the students say he's full of it. Kyosuke notices this bit about Juzo and asks him if he's hiding something, but Juzo still refuses. Remember, in the original timeline, Juzo didn't rat out Junko because she had that blackmail on him. So of course he's going to try and keep that hidden, but when Gundam notices how it went up after they left the area Chiaki was being hospitalized in, as if the person who detonated the bombs knew they were coming to that location, Kyosuke starts to put 2 and 2 together. He's starting to think Chise might have something to do with this, or at least associated with Junko. But they don't have time to question this because, as per the original timeline, with the bombs going up, everyone loses their shit and there's riots and all that crap going on. So they have to run from the remnants of despair as well as the rioters, and they manage to make it back to what we'll say is the Future Foundation headquarters for now. And Kyosuke puts Chisa in solitary confinement for the time being due to these accusations, and as time goes on after this, Chisa begins to exhibit the signs of despair just like with the remnants, and Kyosuke isn't too happy about this, especially because, well, his love was turned into a remnant of despair and he wants revenge. Kyosuke orders Chise to remain locked up until further notice, and Tengen would agree to this because, well, based on the carnage going on outside and all that jazz, yeah, it'd probably be a good idea, especially with these accusations and shit. And they could always interrogate her later if she was telling the truth and had nothing to do with it. I'd also like to point out that in this scenario, Chise never gave him the tape of all the despair and crap to make the final killing game and the like, so this whole plan of his that we saw in the actual series it doesn't occur in this. So after this point, Tengen would recruit the 76 class to help them with their cause and to deal with the remnants of despair, and they agree. Eventually, the remnants are rounded up and put into the program, like in the canon, but unlike the second game, the Future Foundation is assisting with the survivors of the Danganronpa 1 killing game, since they know Junko is responsible for turning them into these creatures and all that, and Chisei would also be put into the program to try and save her as well, because, well, as stated earlier, Kyosuke really loves Chisei. With Chiaki still alive, however, she could assist in uploading duplicates of the current survivors from the second game and put those into the Neo-Hope program as well, instead of potentially risking the survivors becoming remnants or dying if things go awry. But Junko could still be a thing, but it would just be a lot more difficult because the Future Foundation would know who the fuck she is, and would potentially know of Izuru trying to upload him and all that jazz. The threat could be over quicker than in the original canon of DR2. So, if that is the case, then they go through the whole program, they're cured of their despair and all that crap. The DR2 cast that got turned to the remnants are saved. Junko's still dead, like in the original canon. But what this would also mean is that, well, Danganronpa 3, the anime, the future arc at least, it wouldn't happen, because Tengen didn't get turned to despair, the whole plan with Mitarai and the like wouldn't be enacted, and they would just focus on rebuilding the world because, as stated earlier, Junko's dead. There's no need to arrest Makoto since they knew the actions of the remnants was the result of Junko and not them. And, well, with Chisei being turned to a remnant of despair, this idea of a Neo-Hope program curing despair, that could be a great idea to not only help Chisei, but also these remnants, so they would be assisting with that. So, yeah, that would basically be my what-if scenario of if Chiaki survived. I know it sounds like Chiaki wouldn't be doing much, but in terms of the Neo-Hope program and the like, she would actually be contributing a lot. Plus, she would be assisting with the Future Foundations to get her friends back that were turned to the remnants. So, in this scenario, she would survive, Izuru would turn back into Hajime, those two could potentially have a relationship depending on what happens since, well, she's not dead. And, yeah, it would basically just be the happy ending of DR3 for the most part, except without a lot of the stuff that went on in the third series. So, yeah, that concludes this what if. Let me know what you think of it, and, yeah, have a good one.